Well, as far as keeping your practice goes, Steve brings up one very important issue. There is another, and the other is your performance, right? It's the question of whether or not you've committed malpractice. Have any of your clients approached you and complained to this point?
Yes.
How many?
Probably 30%.
Tell us about the complaints.
Well, criminal clients always complain.
That's true.
But sometimes they've been, between you guys and me, sometimes they've been right.
Okay. How often have they been right?
Probably most of the time.
I know in our state here, it's required that we have a certain level of malpractice insurance for the firms that we work with. Have you been up to date on that insurance?
No, because money, as I said, has been a bit of an issue. I like, my clients and I like to have a good time, and I spend quite a lot of money on having a good time.
Okay, this isn't going to be another sensitive question, and it's about money. Do you have any assets or anything that you could maybe liquidate to help pay any retainers that would be required or anything?
No, I've taken out mortgages on pretty much everything I have to fund the lifestyle.
Okay. Now, before I forget, we have the first piece of advice that is utterly important. Dealing with your lifestyle is to stop. I know it's difficult. I know that the substance abuse is not merely a mental or something that is just easy to stop cold turkey. That's why we encourage you to look at some of these counseling sessions that you can do. We'll give you some information at the end of the meeting about different doctors in the area that deal with substance abuse so that you can go and get help, because you need to stop doing drugs from here on forward, because continuing to do that will just create more problems, okay? And the second thing piece of advice that I know you're familiar with as a criminal attorney is don't tell anybody. Don't spread anything. Don't spread the threat around. Don't let anybody else know what's happened. We need to try and contain this to as small of people as possible so that we can deal with it. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you understand those two pieces of advice?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel in response to that advice? Is that realistic for you to stop?
I don't know. It's really hard because these guys are my friends and this is what I do.
Right. When we understand that relationships have a great influence on how we act, both personally and professionally. As we talk about your goals in a few minutes, one reality we're going to have to face is you're going to have to prioritize your goals. Okay? You're going to have things that you want to accomplish professionally. You're going to have things you want to accomplish legally, keeping your practice, staying out of prison. You're going to want to preserve relationships. You're going to want to try to figure out a financial situation. And you're going to have to prioritize. It's not easy, and we want to help you do that. But really, the prioritization comes from you. You know what is most important to you. You know what is going to preserve the quality of life that you want more than any of us. Okay? We will give you the best advice that you can get. We will encourage you to do what will be best for you. Right? But the choice will be yours. So that's something to think about as we go on. We understand you want to preserve those relationships, but recognize that it's going to have to fall somewhere on a list of priorities. Okay?
Now, one thing that you mentioned that we haven't talked about that's really important is, are you going to be able to, as you put it, get Sammy off?
I don't know. I've got so many clients on my books at the moment. And okay, Sammy jumps to the top of the list thanks to this photograph, but it's a pretty strong case. I mean, yeah, probably I should have been able to get him bail, but I'm not really that surprised that he didn't get bail. It's a pretty strong case against him. And I don't know. I don't know if I can get him off.
Did the letter suggest anything that you do in order to get him off?
Just said get him off or else.
That's the extent of the whole letter.
Yep.
Do you know who it came from?
No.
Have you received any further communication
Yeah.
Okay,
No, thank
that's
goodness.
it.
That's it.
Okay.
And when did you receive?
A couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago. Okay. All right. When was the party? Just so we have kind of a timeline.
Last month.
Okay. Last month. Anything else that we've missed that you want to tell us?
If I get disciplined, taking the police issue out of it, if I got disciplined, would you be able to represent me at the disciplinary proceedings?
Well, we do have a division of our law firm that deals more with proceedings in front of the bar associations. James and I primarily represent white-collar litigants in court. But we do have the resources here at the firm that will be able to represent you in front of disciplinary hearings. Okay.
And what about if I get charged? Can you deal with that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, Natalie, what I want to do before we talk specifically about what your goals are, well, I guess the first thing I want to do is ask, is there anything else?
No, I think that's about as much as I can deal with right now.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure that we understood correctly what you told us. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat back to you how I understand your situation to be. And I want you to stop me if I'm wrong, okay? I want you to stop me if I'm missing something. And don't hesitate to interrupt. You don't have to wait for me to finish anything. Just stop me and say, well, that's wrong. Or there's something here that I'm remembering. Because we find that as we do this, we jog clients' memories, okay? But because of time shortage, I'll be brief, but make sure I get everything. So you have a criminal law practice that you've had for some time, and recently you have been taking on more clients than you have time to represent. Additionally, you've been taking the retainer money and spending it on a sort of lavish and party lifestyle. So the money is spent. Now you have a number of clients recently who have complained that you are not being the lawyer that they are paying for. Yeah. And you feel that most of them say that legitimately.
Yeah.
Now, recently you did get someone off. You did a good job in court, and you went and celebrated afterward. While you were at that party, a photograph was taken of you using cocaine. Now, that was about a week ago, and since then you've received a letter that says you need to get Sammy Smith off or else. Now, Sammy's in jail right now because you missed a deadline to help him be able to have bail. And
I didn't miss a deadline. I just gave a really bad bail application.
Okay. So it was a poor bail application. Okay. And so the threat is get Sammy Smith off or else. And it has a photo that has a copy of the photograph. Your primary concerns are with your practice and not so much your safety. Is that correct?
These guys aren't going to.
Okay. Is there anything significant that I missed before we talk about what your goals are exactly?
My drug habit is pretty broad spectrum. Probably should tell you that.
Okay. To what degree?
Well, it's not just cocaine. It's Special K, ecstasy, sometimes prescription painkillers, pretty much everything.
Okay. Have you sought help for any of your substance abuse in the past or currently?
No.
Okay. How long has the drug use been going on?
A couple of years.
Okay.
Now, this may be a bit of an uncomfortable question, but it's helpful for us. Do you feel like you need help with your drug use?
I need to get my life in order. I need to get my practice back. If I can get my practice back, I think I can manage.
Okay. Now, at the beginning, James talked a little bit about trust, and it's a two-way street. We have to be able to trust you. You have to be able to trust us. And as you know, when you sign a retainer agreement, it's an agreement between all of us because we feel comfortable going forward with you, and you feel comfortable going forward with us as your attorneys. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end, but that's something to keep in mind as we go through your goals and your options.